Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch our webinar today. My name is Thais. I'm one of the customer success managers here at eDesk or Repricer. I also have here with me David and Elena. They're also a part of the CSM team. So it's really nice to meet you guys. Um, so the objective here today, the idea of this webinar is that you leave here learning and knowing a lot more about Repricer than you already do. And if you do have any questions during any time, please pop them into the questions section there, as we will have a space for questions at the end as well. So I'm just gonna share my screen here real quick. Perfect. So this is our agenda for today. We are going to cover 5 different areas. So we are going to talk about the dashboard overview. As you will see, there's a lot of graphs and a lot of information there. So I just want to make sure that you know where everything is and where to find that information. We are also going to talk about marketplace imports, as they're really, really important, so that you can have your proper listings imported into the system so they can reprice and help you. Then we are going to talk about competitor rules. They're also super, super important. They are the whole reason why you're using Repricer, so that you can have your rules and we can help you reprice your listings and win that buy box. Then we are also going to talk about advanced repricing features that we do have available and you might not even know about them. And last but not least, we're going to talk about bulk uploads as well. So first of all, I just want to talk a little bit about our dashboard. So I'm just going to jump into the product for this one, as I think this might be a better way for everyone to see it. So just 1 second. There you go. Perfect. So this is our Repricer dashboard. As you can see, it's full of graphs and charts to help you understand your account better. One thing is that every section is clickable, so you can have even more access and more in-depth information about your products. So just on the top here, you can see your subscription status, so the name of your package. Here you can see the amount of imported products you have out of your maximum number of listings permitted as per your package. So depending on which package you're on, you will see a different number right here. Then here you're going to see the configured products you have. And that means the products that already have an active repricing rule, a minimum and a maximum price. Then on the side here, you're going to see all of the products that are currently winning the buy box. Then just below here, we have this priorities area. So actually just one thing, as I am going to cover quite a number of things here. If you are unsure of what does this do and what sort of information am I looking at, you can always hover over this little information icon here, and it will actually show you what this means. So for the priorities, for example, this will take a look at all of your products and pretty much tell you which action you should be taking or you could be taking to make sure that all of your products are set up properly for repricing. So for example, for me here, it's telling me that I have over 400 products without a minimum and a maximum price. So that means those products are not being repriced and are not going to win the buy box. So that's one of the first actions that I should take. And then I have a few options here. So if I click on this little dots here on the side, I can view the products. If this suggestion doesn't make sense at all, you can just hide it by saying it's not a helpful suggestion. And I can click on assign minimum and maximum, and I could potentially assign minimum and maximum price for up to 5,000 products. But we are going to see bulk uploads later and see how to properly import all of your products so that you don't have this suggestion here like I do. So just scrolling down a little bit, we have a number of repricing insights. So I'm not going to talk about each one of them, but it's really important for you to know that you have this, and you can always just scroll down and even click on them so that you can open and see in more details all of the graphs that we have here. So this first one is the EPM limit. So for those of you who don't know what an EPM limit is, so that's the event per minute that you have. And with each package, you have a different number of events per minute limit. So over here, you can see all of your repricing events. You can see the number of events, the number of products that were repriced up and down. So you can see the different trends here and through this graph. So just scrolling down, you have a number of other options. You have product profitability, you have your repricing events. As I said, you can always click here for further information as well. You can see the buy box, ownership, so the ones that I've owned, the ones that I haven't, and the partially owned ones. You can check win back the buy box, so products that you've already won the buy box in the past, but you are not winning them now. You have a buy box predictor as well, and you have your most improved products. You have your sales performance, and if you just scroll down a little bit more, you have a product sales analysis that I can't see here because I'm using a demo account, but you should be able to see it on your live account. So just another quick thing I wanted to show you on this dashboard is that if you don't remember something, even though I told you, you can always go to that information icon here. If you just click here on this understand the dashboard, this will bring you to an article from our knowledge base that will actually show you and explain every single thing here, every single name and every single thing, what it means. You can always also click on this watch the video tour, and it will bring you to a 5-minute video that will explain this dashboard just like I did right now. So I think this is all for me from the dashboard overview. I'm actually going to hand over to Elena now so she can talk about the marketplace imports.
Hi, thanks, Thais. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Repricer onboarding webinar. My name is Elena, and like Thais, I'm one of the customer success managers here at Repricer. So to help you on your path to success with Repricer, I would like first to give you more information about how your products are imported in Repricer from your marketplaces. So we call this marketplace inventory import. So let me share my screen so I can show you how to go to the channels page from the settings. Yes, so shortly after you have added your web stores to Repricer, your products will be automatically imported from the marketplace. And after this very first import, your products will be automatically imported and updated once every 12 hours during the daily inventory import. So that's twice a day. So by hovering over the green tick in your channel settings, so just here, you can see the information about the imports. For example, when the next import will happen, when was the last import, and how many SKUs were updated or deleted. So to go to this page, you have to navigate to settings and just go to your channels page. So if you need to update your products urgently and you know that your next import is not close to happening thanks to our green tick that I just showed you, you can also force an inventory import. So this is a handy trick to know if you need to use it. So if you click on the channel name and then just click on the Repricer tab here, you're going to see a green button to import the inventory. So this can only be used once every 24 hours. So if you have already done this in the last 24 hours, this button will be grayed out and you can't use it. So now I would like to focus actually on the out-of-stock items. So for out-of-stock items, Repricer will automatically remove them after they have been unlisted from Seller Central for 3 days. But if you prefer, you can keep your out-of-stock items in Repricer. And upon your request, we can change this setting for you because it's not turned on by default. So when the items previously deleted are back in stock, they will be imported during the daily inventory import. But these items are not going to have minimum, maximum, and a rule assigned because they were previously deleted. So unless you use the channel option auto assign prices and rules, they're not going to have those values assigned. So this option can be found just next to the Repricer tab that we just checked earlier. So from here, as you can see, you can enable it with the toggle, and you can choose a minimum and maximum value and a rule for all the products belonging to that channel, so that they can automatically be ready for repricing once they come back in stock. So that would be all for the inventory. And now that we know about importing our products in Repricer, we can actually have a look at the basic and advanced features of the repricing rules. So the repricing rules automatically reprice your products by reacting to your competitors so that you stay competitive and increase your sales. Your rule is triggered when a competitor changes his price in Amazon. And by competitor, I mean a seller that sells a listing that you also sell. So let's see an example of a repricing rule. So let me just show you. From your Repricer page, you can go to the repricing rules page. And let me just open this rule, for example. So as you can see, a Repricer rule is made of two different types of rules, the default basic rule and the competitor rules and the advanced options. So the competitor rules will kick in first, and they allow you to add granular conditions to target specific competitors. And that's why they're called competitor rules. And the default rule kicks in when the competitor rules don't match, and it allows you to reprice anyway. And you can select if to reprice anyway or not from the advanced options here. So if you just scroll all the way down, you're going to see the default rule fallback. Yes, always fall back to the default rule or not. If none of my competitors match, do not fall back to the default rule. But you might be asking, if the competitor rule doesn't match, what does that mean? So that's a very good question, and we can answer this better by understanding the flow of a repricing event. So let's take a look at the competitor rules of this rule. So in this case, we have 3 competitor rules. So Repricer is going to check them following their sequence up to 20 of your competitors. If at least one of these rules matches with the scenario you have chosen, it will generate a price from here. Otherwise, if none of them match, it will fall back to the default rule if you chose to fall back to it. Let me show you another thing here. So now that we have seen a bit the competitor rules, this is going to be the flow of our pricing event. So that's going to help us understand this even better. So just to say it again, the first thing that will happen is a competitor changes his price on a listing in Amazon. So Amazon sends a notification to Repricer, and Repricer triggers the rule that is assigned to the listing. So Repricer checks your competitor rules first, following their sequence. So you will check your competitor rule number 1. If that matches with one of your competitors' scenarios, it generates that price. If the competitor rule number 1 does not match with any of your competitors, then it checks the competitor rule number 2. And if it matches, it generates a price. And if it doesn't match, then it moves to number 3, and so on. So when all the competitors up to 20 are checked and each competitor rule matched has generated the price, Repricer will choose the lowest generated price and send this to Amazon. So that is going to be the price you have repriced to. But if no competitor rules have matched, which is the initial question, if you have selected always fall back to the default rule, Repricer will generate that price and send it to Amazon. If you have selected never fall back to the default rule, then you don't reprice on that listing. So let me just go back to the product. So just to show again, those are the competitor rules, and this is your default rule. In this case, the default rule says price below the competition by 1 cent. And the competitor rules are those. So now that we have a better idea of how the repricing event happens, we can take a deeper look into what the competitor rules scenarios you can create, because those are the ones that allow you to be very selective. And there are many options to choose from, so we can check them one by one. So in this case, I have created 3 rules, 3 competitor rules, where number 1 is if we win the buy box and we are FBA and the competition is FBM and we are prime, then I want to reprice above the competition by 10 cents. Number 2, if the competition is winning the buy box and we are FBA and we are prime, so differently from the number 1, there is no information on the competition if it's FBM or FBA. In this case, I want to reprice below the competition by 5 cents. And in this case, the competition is winning the buy box and not me. And the last case, number 3, is simply if the competition is winning the buy box. So there is no other information. And in this case, match the competition price. So if the number 1 or number 2 don't match, the number 3 might match. But what are the other options that we have? So the other options are those. So those are all the options you have. This is the price you want to decide what to do. Competitor pricing rule, match or go above or below the competition by amount or percentage. And those are the buy box scenario, if we are winning or not, or if the competition is winning or not, the fulfillment rule, FBA, FBM, and the prime rule. We are prime, we are not prime, and this is the competition. If our competition is prime, our competition is not prime. Then under here, we have the stock and shipping options that you can also add if you want. So competitor is in stock or is out of stock. Our competitor is domestic or non-domestic. They are all pretty self-explanatory. And there is always, as Thijs was saying, an information icon here that you can always hover over to have more information. Then we have the stock level, the stock age, the time to fulfillment, the last sale, and the free shipping rule. You can always just leave this blank, and that means that doesn't matter to your competitor rule. So that won't make a difference. Then we have the feedback option. So you can decide to include or exclude based on the rating count and the rating score, minimum and maximum. And then you have the include and exclude option based on the marketplace. So you can select if to restrict your rule to a specific marketplace, if to include or ignore specific merchants, or competitor between a certain value. So those are all the options you can have in your competitor rules. So as you see, you can be very, very selective. So I can pass it over to David now, who can talk to us about some of the advanced options.
Thanks, Elena. Can you share me your screen so I can just talk about the PowerPoint? Yes, PowerPoint. So now we have all seen the details of repricing rules, and now we can focus a bit more on some of the best features of the advanced options. So let's check out the Keystar Repricer first. So basically, the purpose of Keystar Repricer is that it can stimulate your competitor's reaction and increase your chance of winning the buy box. And this feature is only available from the Repricing Plus plan and onwards. So can I go to the next one, please? Yeah, so basically with the Keystar Repricer, you can stimulate your competitor's reaction by creating an automated loop to increase or decrease your price. And by doing so, it will increase your chance of winning a buy box. As someone who uses Reprice, I think winning the buy box would be the priority. And so if you can actually, if you go to the settings, you can actually set how frequently you would like the Keystar Repricing to change the price. And once the frequency has expired, and one of the two scenarios will occur. The first scenario will be like if the price change didn't cause any competitors to change their price, your price will refer back to what it was before, the Keystar Repricing was applied. And the second scenario is if competitors change their price, then the new price will stay, and then the countdown will then start on when to Keystar again. So now we can move to the demo account, so I can just show you how to actually set this up. So if we can go to the repricing rules and we can scroll down, yes, we can click into Keystar Repricer. So here you can see like we have, you can below or above, so which means you can increase or decrease the price by like amount or percentage. We have two options for you either way. And also we have a frequency here every 15 minutes, every 1 hour. And you can set this up to every 4 hours if you like. And and you can stay at this price for maximum 1 hour if you wish. Basically, by default, we will only advise you to stay for 15 minutes. So that you just create more. You just make the competition more competitive, so that it just increases the chance of winning the buy box. Yeah. So now I will pass to Thais to talk about buy box optimizers.
Perfect. Thank you. So I'm just gonna share my screen again. And now we're gonna talk about the buy box chaser. So the whole idea behind this feature is that it will help you increase your chances of winning the buy box by decreasing your prices and avoiding being stuck at an uncompetitive price. Just one note is that this is available on all Repricer plans except for the Express plan. So if you're on the Express plan and you don't see this option, that's the reason why. So how does the buy box chaser work? So it sounds great, but how does the magic actually work? Well, the buy box chaser will only be activated when you're not winning the buy box. So that means obviously if you're winning the buy box, you won't have a decrease on your price at all. The point being winning the buy box. So if you have already done so, then there's no need for the buy box chaser to kick in. Another really important thing is that it will never go below your minimum price. So this is really important for you to know. You don't need to worry about it. I've had customers before that were afraid of using it and having their price too low. But you don't need to be concerned because the minimum price that's set for you will always be respected. And that's why it's so important that you import your products with the correct minimum and maximum price, because that will help all of your rules. And also, if you're using a buy box chaser, for example, it will never be too low. It's always going to follow your minimum price there. So just below here, we can see an example that allows the buy box chaser to decrease your price by 1% every hour. So I'm actually going to jump into the product now just to show you how to actually set it up. So in order to set up your buy box chaser, it's really simple. First, you're going to go to your repricing rules here on the left-hand side. Just 1 second. So I'm just going to jump back into the presentation here. So all you're going to do is jump into your repricing rules, and you're going to use the buy box chaser either by creating a new rule or editing an existing one. So we know how to set up the repricing rules now because Elena showed us how to do so. So you're going to go into the advanced section, just the second option there, and you're gonna toggle the buy box chaser option under this scenarios area here. So once you do so, it's going to open this little box that we just saw here, right here, and that's where you can decide the, oh, thank you. And that's where you can decide how often you want your buy box chaser to increase your price, to decrease your price. So you can choose the how often, and you can also choose either the percentage or the amount. So for example, now it says that every 1 hour it will decrease your price by 1%. And obviously that will stop decreasing once you win the buy box or once it hits your minimum price, either one of those options. That's when it will stop decreasing your price and leave you winning the buy box right there. So now I'm just gonna talk a little bit about the buy box optimizer. So before I actually start talking about it, I also just want to let you know that this is a feature that's only available on Repricer Ultimate or Extreme. So if you can't find it, that's the reason why. If you think that's relevant to you, just let us know and we can let you know how to upgrade and have those options available there. So about the buy box optimizer, this is really helpful when you have already won the buy box. So this is different than the buy box chaser. The buy box chaser is when you want to win the buy box. The buy box optimizer, this is when you have already won the buy box, but it will increase your price to help you maximize your profits. It's just simple as that. And how does that work? So the way it works, it's very simple. As soon as you win the buy box, your price will then be increased again, either by a percentage or a specific amount every 15, 30, or 60 minutes, depending on your setup. And then another important one note is that if the price increase causes you to lose the buy box, that's okay. What will happen is that your price will then be reverted back to the price you had before you lost it. So that's the idea. You have your buy box there, you're winning it. You will then increase your price a little bit just to make sure you're increasing your profits and selling with the best price possible. And if that causes you to lose that buy box, you will then revert to the price back that you were winning the buy box. So just below here, we can see an example that uses the buy box optimizer to increase the price by 1% every hour. So now I'm actually going to show you how to set it up. If you could please share your screen, Elena, that would be great. Perfect. Thank you. The first thing you're going to do, again, is navigate to your repricing rule. And again, you can either create a new one or edit an existing one. We're just going to use this one that we have already set up. And you're going to click on the advanced options right there under scenarios. And you will see that there is a field called if buy box winner. So on that field, you will then select optimize profit. And that's your buy box optimizer right there. And again, you are going to choose your time frame, your percentage or amount of increase, and that's it. Now, every time you win the buy box, that's how the system is going to behave on your behalf. So I think that's all for the buy box chaser and optimizer. If you do have any questions, please pop them into the questions area and we'll answer them at the end. Thank you. And I will hand it over now to David so he can talk about the net margin
repricing. Thanks, guys. I'm going to share my screen here. Or maybe Elena, you can share me your screen. I'm in the PowerPoint. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about the other very advanced feature that we have in our higher tier repricing plan. And that's one of the features called net margin repricing. And at the moment, it is only available for Repricer Ultimate plan and Reprice Extreme. So basically, net margin repricing is a strategy based on how much profit you want to make rather than based on your comparison price. And before we actually get to know how to set this up, I would like to exemplify what a net profit is. So if you're able to create a product, if you're able to get a product for $100, and you sell it for $150, then your profit will be $50. So that's very simple logic, I think. So that's the reason behind that. So the reason behind this setting is that we are making sure that you're going to earn certain percent of margin whenever, and no matter how we reprice your price, no matter how your costs or other fee change, you will still earn this much of profit. Can we move to the next slide, please? So basically, it is very easy to set this up. So what you need to do is that you can use the net margin repricing by either creating a new repricing rule, or you can just edit an existing one. What you need to do is you can go to repricing rule and you just select Amazon repricing rule. At the moment, this feature is only apply to Amazon because that's the limitation we have. We are not. It is not ready for eBay or other marketplace yet. And in the repricing, in the repricing basic rule, you can just select net margin repricing. Then what you need to do, you just need to input your desired min and max net margin. It can be percentage or amount. Can we move to the next slide, please? And here are most common question we always receive from user using net margin repricer. Like the most common question would be, why are my costs changing? So that's just because some of your selling costs, such as listing fee or VAT or sell tax, are variables. So it means they're changeable. So they change as your selling price changes, and as a result, when the repricer change your price, your costs will also change. And the second question will be how to ensure profit despite changing costs. Well, some of your costs are variable, others are fixed, such as unit costs, shipping costs, pickup costs, etc. And just to keep in mind that your main price will never go below your total fixed cost plus your variable cost plus your minimum margin that you set. So we will never go below that. So you don't have to worry about losing any profit in the whole process. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yeah. So how does the net margin affect my min and max price? So when you use net margin repricing, you set your min and max price against costs that are changing. So your min and max price will change every time when repricer change your price. However, because you have input your minimum net profit, you always make a profit in certain percentage. Also, we also got this question like, why am I unable to enter my desired net margin price? So the net margin percentage is a percentage of your selling price that's profitable. And some value of a net margin percentage are mathematically impossible. Like, for example, you can have a net margin percentage of 100%. If that's the case, that means that you're getting this item for nothing. Like, it means that this item costs you nothing. That would be possible, but mathematically it wouldn't be possible. So to avoid any wrong price due to the incorrect input, we can only enter. You can enter the margin higher than 70% as a minimum. Can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, so And you also, I'm going to touch on the bulk uploads. So basically, when you set out your net margin repricing, what we would like you to do is, like, we will need you to upload your costs. So bulk upload will be the easiest and handy way to do it. Just imagine that you might have a lot of listings in your repricing account. You might have 10,000 listings, and it will be really time consuming if you have to manually update the min and max price for each of them. So that's why we would really suggest to update the price by uploading the CS file. So basically, the beauty of bulk uploads is that we will import your min and max price and repricing rule and cost and other options in one go. Next slide, please. So the first step is that you go to import section and you just download our preset templates. So once you did download the template, you can just edit the data there. Next slide, please. Yes, so you go to import, you download the Amazon templates, and you will just download all your products across all your marketplace into the single CSV file. Next slide, please. Well, if you don't want to actually, if you don't want to actually reprice all your listings, sometimes you might have some listing that you don't want, you don't need to reprice. You can also download specific products from your inventory using the filters. We will show you how to do it later on. Next slide, please. So yeah, so once you download your CSV, you just to make sure you don't change the format. You always save the file as it is. But you have to make sure that you have to fill out the required columns. Otherwise, we will not be able to update the price for you. Yeah, and after you finish everything, you just need to what you need to do. You just need to drag and upload your template back to the system, and when we will just update everything for you. And now we will just move to demo account. I will try to briefly show you. Yeah, we will talk about this later, but I will try to show you how we do this. So we will first need to go to import. Yeah, so then we will just click download Amazon templates. Then when you download template, you will see the CSV file. Then you can just click, you can just open it. Then you can just change the data there. But you have to make sure the format is not changed. Yes, that's what you will see. And then once you update everything, you can just save the file. Then you just you just drag and drop the file into the step 3, import your updated Amazon product data to here. It's actually very easy. And I would like to also remind you about the column that you have to populate. Yes, so if you're on the basic and plus plan, those are the columns that you will see when you download your CSV file. And the first one is SKU, and it's pre-populated, so you don't have to manually put anything. And the marketplace, I believe it is also pre-populated. The only thing that you will need to manually update it will be the min and max price. Yeah, I think those are two things that you need to manually set this up for you by yourself. Next slide, please. If you're on Automate or Extreme plan, there will be additional cost-based columns that you will see when you download in your CSV file. That's just because of net margin repricing. So we will need your cost, currency, or shipping information so that we can calculate the accurate margin for you. So you have to make sure that you have to populate those information in the file so that we can calculate the right percentage or amount of profit for you. Next slide, please. Yeah, as I mentioned before, those are also the column additional information that you will see in the file. Those are also the variable that we would take into consideration when we try to calculate your net margin. The currency, pickup fee, VAT rate, listing fee, etc. Those are very important information, and if you feel like those information will have an impact to your net to your margin, so then you have to make sure you have put the right information into those columns. Next slide, please. Yeah, I think that's it from us, and now it's a Q&A section, and I'll hand back to Thijs and Lina.
Thank you. So I'm just having a look here and I can't see any questions. So I'm just going to assume that everyone knows everything really well and you have no questions. So if you do have any questions at any point, just please don't hesitate to reach out to support@repricer.com, and I'm sure our support team will be very happy to help you. So please don't hesitate to reach out. Don't forget to have a look at our knowledge base as well, as there is a lot of information in there. And thank you so much, guys, for joining us today and for taking the time to attend this webinar. I really, really hope this was helpful and helped you clarify a lot of your questions that you might have, and also taught you about new features that you were not aware before. Very much, and have a great day.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining. Bye.